I am guided by something far more advanced than any idea of an individual self one might have or I might have. That was a message for you. That is how anything has happened. By that alone, one's life evolves, progresses, expands, and ascends higher and higher. By that, what is that? That's the divine. That is the thing which you are understanding, you are aware of. There is something greater, higher, more advanced, more intelligent. And perhaps that thing, that however you conceive of that with words for yourself, it's the one thing that we all have in common, no matter how we conceive of it, because it is the one thing that creates everything, you know? And so that ties in with this other message channeled on this page here. Accept the power of your thoughts to shape your reality. Because you are also of that same creator, of that same, you know, makeup. Okay, so we have some channel messages for you. I'm really excited for today's reading. And it's like overcast today. It's kind of a weird day, but we're rocking with it. I'm gonna grab my tea. Today I have chai. I love chai. Okay, I can't help but tap on my cup. Okay, so may these messages be for the highest good, and may every thought, word, and action be in harmony with the highest good, the greatest good for all beings everywhere. Okay, so what I was getting earlier, I was getting a few things about like inner conflict and how it feels to be in that mode or that phase or that season of life when you're really aware that an old part of you or a whole whole self, like old past self, is currently dying, fading away, perhaps like wherever that lands in your life right now. It could be just beginning, or you could be like very at the end of it. However, whatever it is, that's like the awareness that I felt very strongly earlier. And the inner conflict feeling of like, but the beautiful thing about this energy that I'm feeling is that you're aware of it. Like, meaning, so like, you know, what I'm picking up is in Avatar, like The Last Airbender, when Zuko, he like chooses the good side or whatever. But basically, remember that scene when he switches sides and then he goes through that like dark night of the soul, and he's just like in bed and he's just like in turmoil, changing into like, you know, healing, right? Purging out a lot of old energy and old identity. And I don't feel that that's happening, but I do feel that there's this awareness that you've already gone through so much of it, and there are these tendencies, right? But the beautiful thing, right, that we're coming back to is that you're seeing that they are literally just tendencies. Like they're just this old remnant tendency or habit or behavior, or like the thought can come up, the judgment can come up, the kind of like old mindset can come up, and it's seen, and then it's not really followed. And that's becoming more and more and more of your default. That is such a powerful place to be, because that means you're there. You're on the threshold of this change. And what I mean, when I say change, what we mean is like, it's just the letting go of the false. As always, we're coming back into that. We're just resolving back into the self. And my eyes keep looking over to this book that I have. I guess you can call it a book. It's not really a book, but Who Am I? And it's with Sri Ramana Maharshi on the cover. And I always look at this, but I've been looking at it a lot in the past few, like 2 messages, and I'm like, why haven't I mentioned that? Because it feels like a reason. Maybe because I'm so used to just looking, like whatever. That might be something. Maybe you're doing some sort of meditation practice and that's what's helping you see these things because you're really aware of the perceiver. More of the perceiver watching the thoughts and noticing like you're not the thing that you're perceiving. I was not expecting this message already to go. Whew. Okay. I keep doing this. Oh my gosh, the other thing, that reminds me, this morning I had this moment. Sorry. I keep doing this with one hand. What am I doing? And so this morning I was outside and I was doing my little stretches from like the classic 26 and 2 from like Bikram Ghosh yoga lineage. No need to clarify this, but basically what happened was I got distracted like right in between. I was doing half moon, like stretching to one side, and then I came to center and I was supposed to go to the other side, but I got distracted by my dog, which we love, it's fine, and I never went back to the stretching. I didn't complete it until later when I realized I was like, I feel like I'm missing something or something's out of alignment, and I remembered I didn't finish the stretching the other side. And that keeps coming up throughout my day today. So I'm feeling this has something to do with this message for you. Like something about, maybe it has something to do with the thoughts you've been noticing, or like those old tendencies and the kind of behaviors or whatever they are, how they bring you out of alignment. And like the cost of that is just like becoming too great to you now. Like you're valuing that alignment more and more and more, and that's why you're noticing these thoughts too, because it's like not only it's like the noticing of these thoughts is also the actively noticing what's out of alignment, if that makes sense, because it's like transmutation energy. Because as you're noticing the ways in which, because what are these thoughts? Let's take it back for a second. Coming back to the example of Zuko. Bear with. I mean, it's fine. I know you know that show, and I know you're gonna get it, so it's fine. How do we want to word this? It's like that inner critic or that inner conflict, even just like inner conflict. You can also relate this to the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. Like the whole thing with Arjuna being in the battlefield, feeling like I can't do what I'm here to do. Like there's this inner conflict because he doesn't know what's the right thing to do. And the same thing with Zuko. He couldn't like find that inner peace quite yet at that point when he was going through this transition. Even when he was through it, he still ended up going back. And so that might be a thing. But see, it does feel a little bit incomplete, okay? And one thing I really wanted to say was just keep going, because it's step by step, day by day, where we see the most progress. And one thing too is just like the more time you spend in the mind or the thoughts about what's the right thing to do, or like, trying to analyze it from a place of like confusion or doubt or uncertainty, that's never going to be the peace that you're seeking. And that's just a way that inner critic, or that like whoever's the one, right, that you're perceiving that has the inner conflict, that's the one that would be trying to solve it or figure it out or like make sure they're making the right choice, right? That's fear. Okay. So I'm going to really bring this home back into my own energy to help kind of like balance this, because what I'm feeling right now is confusion from this energy, and it's okay. But a beautiful way to bring wholeness back into the equation here and to remember wholeness is love. And instead of wondering what's the right thing to do, question, inquire into who doesn't know, like who, like, and also who's asking what's the right thing to do, and what are their like markers or their measurements for like what's right and wrong. Because perhaps this is an invitation, this very moment, wherever you are in this threshold of this ending and beginning, this is the invitation to like trust in that dissolution of the fact, or the realization or the recognition that you're coming to, that your, even those old measures of like what was right or wrong, or your truth, inner truth, is changing too. That's how powerful of a transformation this is that you're moving through right now, by the way. So like, I feel so like empowered to be here right now, to do this message, to channel this energy, because these are the moments that matter the most, right? And to not give up, and to keep going, and to feel encouragement from a source and a place within yourself that is of love and truth. And love, it does not always appear to be like the same. It's not just an emotion. It's not just all good all the time. Like, love can be fierce, you know? Love can be brutal, like brutally honest in seeing the truth of a situation, and then being in that truth is itself love. And this is coming through very strong, because the other part of this message that we haven't even gotten into yet, but it's that there's something about like leadership here. And just to kind of bridge this, what I was getting, and this is gonna hopefully lighten it up a bit too. I kept hearing like this line from, I just kept seeing, what's his name? Viserys Targaryen, who, if you've seen that show, House of Dragons, he was the king, and he held peace in the realm, okay, for like 80 years, but everyone around him thought he was weak and foolish. And like, little did they know though, right? Like, if you've watched that, you know what I'm saying? Like, he had a vision, and he did not feel compelled or required to make everybody around him understand what that vision was for him to stand firm in it. Such a powerful character. Like, his performance moved me to tears. I mean, that does happen a lot, I will admit, but still, it's so powerful. And that might be like resonant for someone, or like in real life, you know, looking to leaders who hold true to their values or their peace, and not to say like you're, because what we were just saying, like yours might be shifting, your kind of inner truths, right? So it's not to like hold firm at all costs, but it's to really like, I don't know, it's something about appreciating the journey to come to those truths. You're not rushing to them, because you can't rush that process. And that is like, in fact, facing this kind of threshold that you're on right now, where it feels like everything might be tested, your will, your strength, your patience, your love, your ability to love and be open, and your ability to expand what love is, and like what that means to you, or like how that is for you, and like what kind of love you experience and share, and like what's it like to be in your presence, which is, these are important questions for someone who may be being prepared to be a leader, or like already is, or something like this, going through these, it's never ending. I don't think it's ever ending. And up until his death, just to bring it back to the show of the House of Dragons show, he was, his vision and his like, what he declared, right? Like to be, for his realm, you know, like his decisions, that's it. His choices. Oh, that's what we're getting into, choices. Yeah, his decisions were constantly doubted and questioned, and like made to be like, you know, questioned, as if like he didn't know what he was doing. But he didn't, still, no matter what, he would only tell that vision that he had about the realm, right? Like the Prince of Peace, I think that's what it was, or something like this. He wasn't foolish enough to be like, no, but you have to understand, this is why I'm doing this, and these are why I'm making these decisions. Like, he didn't need to explain that. And I don't know, there's something about that as well. Maybe like explaining and trying to, again, like the whole thing with perceptions, like that is such a theme in these messages for whoever I'm channeling these messages for. Like, I feel like what we're moving through collectively is this like opening to a deeper, wider, broader, more inclusive sense of perception that is not worried or limited by fear, not confined by fear. And, you know, I even shifted the camera settings. That's so interesting. I just realized to be on like a different setting. So it's a bit wider and a less of a filter, because I think this camera has a filter built in. So it's just more, it's like more open, right? And like that's a channeled thing right there, because it's like mirroring something in whatever you're moving through at this moment too. And so choices was the other thing. The higher choice, I kept hearing that. Like cultivating the right energies within us, within yourself, to where that higher choice becomes active. What does that mean? So it's like if we're faced with let's say the lower self, the lower nature, the small self, and then the higher self or the true self, the natural self. And so if we're faced with that lower nature, meaning tendencies, latent tendencies, things that feel like habits or like out of our control, or like just ways of reacting that are not in alignment when we can see from that higher ground or that wider perspective, like this isn't in alignment with the kind of, you know, being my best self. And what I mean by best self is just showing up in a way that you know you can, you know, because you're aware of that potential, or you value integrity or honesty or love, whatever it is for you. So it's going to be different. But the lower nature are those tendencies that kind of pull us back down. It can lower your vibration. It can make you feel lower vibration emotions, you know. And then, so the higher choice, what do we mean by doing the things to cultivate energies within ourselves that would make that more active or more dominant, more easily chosen, right? Because there's a really big energy about choices here that is part of this. So I think of, you know, the yamas, and the yamas are those restraints. And the thing about them, the yamas, the restraints in the Yoga Sutras, is that they aren't there to like restrict you and make you feel limited, but if you're mature, right, they're there to actually help you progress and evolve and expand, because they are the very things you're restraining. The very things you're restraining are the lower nature qualities of human being. Okay, so for example, we have like friendliness, we have non-violence, we have non-stealing, we have truthfulness or non-lying. I don't know if that's what it is, but and energy, like preserving your energy. I think I said them all. Hang on. Non-violence, non-stealing, non-lying, so truthfulness, non-attachment, and then Brahmahakara. I'm sorry, my pronunciations I have to improve, but it's okay. Continence, we'll say. So this means we have to use our will, and we have to also use our intelligence and apply our intelligence to the moment of that decision or the choice point that occurs, where we're like, okay, this thing is happening. And usually I would react with, let's say, anger or judgment or attachment or greed or coveting. That might be a thing, because we talked about the Game of Thrones thing, or House of Dragons, and same with the other one. But the point is there's this element of like status, or I don't know, coveting is such a powerful word. Like covet, like an attachment. And I don't know why that's coming through unexpectedly. So that might be something that we want to look into, because that might be where that lower nature gets its fuel and therefore its voice, you know? So something about listening to your own inner voice and like listening with that intention and that discernment, to see like where are these feelings coming from, or these drives or these motives. I hope this is making sense. I really can't believe how fast time is going. So that tells me this is like really being channeled, like, so I don't really know. I hope it's making sense. And let me just take a moment and see what else we can really ground in here. Okay, instantly. Coveting can breed greed and competition, comparison, and of course attachment. But beyond all of that, just to go with greed, it's like selfishness comes to the forefront there. And so leadership, you're being prepared for some sort of leadership cannot be grounded and founded on selfishness. And that's why we're these other things. So coveting, if that's the thing, like basically what does that mean? It's like, I don't know. I really like to put it this way. It's like if you see something that you really desire or that someone else has of any kind, it could be a relationship, it could be a home, it could be a career, it could be anything, spiritual life, anything. And so if that reaction that comes up is that lower nature reaction of like jealousy or judgment, because jealousy is there first and then judgment comes, and then now all of a sudden you're judging that person when beneath that there's jealousy or there's, attachment to the desire that you want what they have, and that's lack and fear. And so a beautiful way that I really think will help to see this differently and to, again, like we're reframing those perceptions and we're removing all that, reframing by just simply feeling and acknowledging, like, may we all be that blessed. Whenever you see something that you feel like a strong desire for, or like longing for, or something like this, and you can feel the negative or the lower vibrations that might arise with that associated perception, that's a beautiful moment to pause and inquire, and also to just pivot in the moment your perspective by just being like, wow, good for them. Like with your heart. Don't say it sarcastically, because I know that could sound sarcastic, but like that's beautiful. Like try to really genuinely feel that kind of, like happy for them if you can, or at the very least, may we all be that blessed. And also affirm like you are also blessed. And in fact, the universe is always showing you and revealing to you in its own beautiful language that you are loved and supported. And so when we feel a strong kind of like, ooh, I really think like this is resonant for me too, and like they have something that I feel, it's like we're stepping out of separation, out of competition, out of lack, out of fear, and we're just embracing like, ooh, the universe is showing me something that I can also create, or that I may also, something contribute to. Sorry, there's like music that just started like playing loudly, so it's okay. Okay, but that gives me a cue to maybe slow it, quiet down. Because I know that can be easier said than done too, like, oh, may we all be that blessed. But I mean, try it. Just try it. Music might actually be helpful too if you do feel a little too much in the separative mind or analytical mind, thinking mind. Like, there was that other thing with like the one side, like balancing out our energies, like doing what you can to employ all the holistic brain, the holistic mind and body and spirit self, but also to inquire and meditate and to listen internally is a message here as well. Because that's where we're going to really be able to know and make those right choices, the right decisions from that higher choice. Whew. There's also something about like the leader thing, right? Like that might not be relevant or resonant in that word leader, but like there is definitely a vibe here, or like a energy of service and like pivoting from selfishness. And please don't feel judged or anything. This is always a safe space, and I'm with you because like I've been working on that energy in myself too, and it took me some time to really kind of understand what I was getting wrong about like this stuff, you know, about service or not being selfish. And I think eliminating the lower nature, or not eliminating, but, you know, working with it, accepting whatever's present day by day, moment by moment, breath by breath, meditation by meditation, experience by experience, because that's literally how it goes. It's not like, it's never going to be a one size fits all, but you do have the intelligence that you can apply in your daily life in every way, mundane and more expressed or whatever. And you work with it. You work with your lower nature. And it will reveal to you the information that you need to transmute the energy. And you actually don't really do anything to transmute it. You simply see it. And in the seeing of it, during this transformative process that you're already in fully, this is like a threshold. You've made this your reality now. Like, you've done that work to this point. So, you know, this wouldn't be finding you if you weren't ready for this next step, this next leap, which does feel like it requires a lot of patience. Sorry if you can hear like the sounds around, but just, it's like prioritizing your inner peace, because there's something bigger than you. We started this message, and we're going to end it soon because the camera is beeping at me. We started this message with that channeled thing. I am guided by something far more advanced than any idea of an individual self I may have or one might have. Okay? And so that is like the thing that's so active in you now through 30 minutes and 3 seconds when I looked. And it's helping you behind the scenes without you needing to try to fix anything or correct anything about you. Like, just seeing these tendencies of the lower nature and all these things that we've shared is already doing the work of transmuting it. Because what happens, I guess, in a nutshell, and it's never in a nutshell, it's never linear, and it's never one size fits all, but just in a nutshell, it's that whatever's going on, right? As you're looking and trusting and surrendering and keep applying that intelligence, that will to look, to inquire, to meditate, to try to make the higher choice from a place of inner knowing and not giving up. That's really all you have to do. And what happens is, slowly, somehow, gradually, you're more interested in that higher choice. And not only that, but there seems to be a more capacity and an expanded capacity to see a higher choice, or like higher alternatives. So all is well. Sorry, the environment's getting wild, and I don't know, you know, I do feel that this is something to do with the collective that I'm channeling, that our environments test us, but you know what? You're so strong. And this is a time of patience and inner peace and slow and steady progress. We're not rushing for truth. We can't. And that's already a lower nature thing. So the wise thing you're already doing. You're listening, you're reflecting, and you're also applying your reflections, your listenings, your wisdoms to the moment as you make choices and take actions and move through your life with more and more confidence, more and more steadiness in whatever it is you're doing, because service is becoming a clearer and clearer perception or understanding for you. Because also, didn't mention this, but all of this is springing forth because something happened where your heart has begun to open, whether you know it or not. And that is a beautiful, beautiful, delicate process. I say delicate because sometimes we don't even know it's happening, and it can be scary and vulnerable. And again, like we said at the beginning, love isn't always just, what we think it is. It's not just an emotion. It's so much more than that. And so when we say opening your heart, it's that love frequency. I'm going to leave it here because I think I can go on and on about that, but we're just opening these doors. I'm not saying you haven't opened them before either, but there's this energy about it's gentle, it's easeful, there's no forcing, and there's the priority of balance, of peace, of alignment, of patience. And like the reason those things are taking priority now is because somehow, some way, you're becoming more and more receptive to this, what did we say? It said more advanced kind of awareness. That's not your own, but it is a part of you, right? The greater whole, that universal consciousness, that love, that is revealing to you something about your purpose, or I don't think purpose, maybe however you want to conceive of it, that came through. So that's probably how some of you conceive of it. But we're all helping each other and contributing to each other, and not just humans, but all of life. Something about being a guardian or a protector, or like, that could be relevant when it comes to thinking about service. It's not about a personal gain or like a status or like other humans' approval. Just like Viserys Targaryen, he did not require that approval to hold strong and steady to the vision because it wasn't about him. Fiery, fierce, getting wild. I love it. Okay, we're gonna leave it here. And as you move through this, I'm just sending you a deep breath. Lots of love for that heart that's already opening. You have such a lovely energy, and steady as well. It feels very steady. So even when it feels unsteady around you, it's nothing. Just breathe through it. You got this. Keep going. I believe in you. I love you. And I'm so glad you're here. And I'm going to leave it here for the highest good of all. For you, for the divine. All right. Lovely.